Well, we're going to do a different kind of dance. We are the midway mark of my data bag for this Tuesday afternoon, and we are going to move into the Festival Management Committee. We like to say Carabana because that's how we know it, but it's now being called Caribbean Carnival. All that long name. We're not going to worry with that. And with us in the studio is Karli. Karli, welcome to my data bag.
Thank you very much for having me.
Yes, we are glad to have you so we can talk about...
Phone's ringing.
We're going to talk about your concerns, your committee's concerns, masqueraders' concerns, and somebody is calling, but we can't answer them yet because we have to start our conversation first, and then we will deal with that. So, Linda, you want to ask her the first question? Why don't I lay the groundwork?
Sure.
And then you can take it from there. There have been some emails on Facebook,
Yes.
where people, masqueraders, I think, and supporters of masqueraders have been expressing concern about the way the Festival Management Committee has been ignoring your concerns. So, and people have said all kinds of stuff, and they've been saying more and more over the years.
Yes.
But the main concern this year for your team is what? Let's put that on the line.
The main concern that we're trying to focus on is getting the community together to present a united front to make this carnival and make our carnival the best that it can be. So a lot of concerns that people had after this carnival was security, not only for just the masqueraders, but even the people who break down the fences and storm into the parade. You know, after the tragedy that happened last year where that poor young child passed away, you know, why are all the trucks not skirted? Was that not priority one? Why was security not priority one? So that was an issue. Also,
before you move,
sure.
I remember reading somewhere where Stephen Ware was quoted as saying that the trucks are all skirted this year. You're telling me that that's not true?
Many pictures show that that's not true.
Okay. Just want to get it clear so it's not true what they told people. Okay, carry on.
Another concern that people had was, you know, and myself in particular, aside from a lot of masqueraders were getting assaulted, were getting harassed. My daughter had been playing kiddies for many years, and this year she actually got to play in a big costume, and she loved it. And after the amount of time and effort and money that we put into it, we wanted to bring her to the grand parade with myself and my siblings as marshals. And within the first 10 minutes, she was accosted by some uncostumed individual who was trying to interfere with her. And throughout the parade, that happened on more than 5 occasions, which really sullies the experience because that's not what Carnival is about. Another issue that we had heard too was that not all bands were able to cross the stage, and knowing and seeing firsthand how much work people put into their costumes and the bands and putting them together, it's such a tragedy that you don't have the opportunity to compete because that's part of what Carnival is. So these issues, we would like to have addressed, and we would like to get the community together to put forth their ideas, their solutions, and their concerns so that we can make this the best that it can be. Can I continue?
Okay, we believe there is some cynicism about response from the Festival Management Committee. We would like to hear about some of those past initiatives that have been left unanswered.
I mean, well, security for one was the biggest. A lot of people have complained about stormers not understanding the culture, not knowing how much work goes into the costumes, and harassing the masqueraders. And to many people, playing in the parade is a privilege. You pay your money. Some people pay hundreds of dollars to thousands of dollars. So to have people who come in and interfere and really just kill the vibe, and nobody comes to see people in plain clothes. They come to see people in costumes. So the fact that this year was so bad, that to me remains unanswered and unaddressed.
We have a lady on the line. Is Cara?
Yes, hello, hi. I'm Kara Barrett from Karabana Blogspot. That's Karabana. I've been running my blog for 7 years now, and along with my husband Sean. And this was my 15th year playing Mass in Toronto.
And your concern, what would you like to add to what Karli has told us?
Definitely, I concur with what she said, and I personally cannot emphasize how much better security is needed in the parade, as well as, that's echoing the sentiments of all of my blog readers who comment. The lack of security, or the small amount of security that does exist in the parade, has caused quite a few problems over the years. And, in particular for female masqueraders. The majority of masqueraders are women. And as was mentioned, there are assaults. Female masqueraders are being assaulted. And it has got to stop. And we see it as being, for sure, a problem with security, as well as education. Education absolutely needs to be handled.
Okay, let me jump in here. We're mainly talking here about security, and that is, I have dealt with it in the past, and I'm glad that you have come forward to do this as well today. There are other things I believe that you would like the Festival Management Committee to do. So number one, you want them to do something seriously about security.
Yes.
As a friend of mine who lives in British Columbia said to me the other day, the fellas who run, he did say fellas, I am going to say the people who run the festival, they're not smart enough to understand that if you invest money in barriers for the festival, that will last you as long as you have the festival. So if you invest the money, let's say $1 million 1 year, you don't have to invest it again another year. You will have it there always to put it up. And that way you can keep the people who should not be in the band out of the band. So I want to add whatever else you want to say, because my point that I have made before, and I will make it with you all now, is why people must understand you should not jump in the band if you're not in the costume. Very simple. When you go to the theater, if you go into the Royal Alex, if you went whichever theater, you buy a ticket, you're going to see a show. You sit in a seat and you look at the show. You do not go on the stage. And I don't think I'm crazy by saying that. Treat the masquerade on the streets as the same thing. It's a theater. It's your production. You're the performers. You're in your costume. If you don't have a costume on, then you don't belong on the stage. So let's add something else, because I'm sure that there are other things. Personally, I would like to add to your concerns is masqueraders do not have proper places to get dressed. They say you should dress from home, but if you can't, I don't agree that people should be dressing in bathrooms, in washrooms, in toilet, behind motor cars and behind towels, and people opening clothes for you to get dressed behind that. I don't agree with that at all. And I'm going to say straight out, I come from theater. And with my theater background, costume is costume, washroom is washroom. They don't work together. So you can add whatever you want to add now.
Right, yes, and William, actually has not been my experience the past 15 years playing Mass on the lakeshore. I have not noticed any amount of women, or men for that matter, getting dressed. However, maybe it does happen in the washrooms. But for sure, though, when it comes to education, I just feel that even with educating, okay, which is needed for sure, we have to sort of acknowledge that there is going to be a certain amount of the population, a certain segment, that will still insist on climbing the fences, cutting through the fences, and demanding to be let into what they think is a street party. They don't maybe care that Mass is a cultural representation. They just want to jam on a woman. So reaching them, targeting a campaign directed at them specifically, whether it's, youth, and explaining to them why they should not jump in on our parade, that's the key. However, it will be very challenging, It will be very, very challenging.
Okay.
But it should be attempted.
Sure. Okay. Linda wants to add something on the fact that people do dress in.
People do dress on the section of the parade ground where the masqueraders are held up, preparing to go before the judges.
Assembly points.
The assembly point. People do dress. Some people get dressed there between the trucks, and they have people. Because I have seen it firsthand. Because
and you played one year.
I played 1 year. I didn't dress there, but I saw people dressing there. There's some people that came from the U.S. They got there Saturday morning. They drove all night, and they had nowhere to change, so they just changed right there. People held towels or material flags or whatever, and they dressed there. And I brought that point up with one of the people from the FMC 1 year.
Chris Alexander.
When we had him here on the radio, and I said, as women, we should have, as anybody, not only women, but we should not be dressing on the lake shore. We should be dressing in places where we can dress. It's not always possible for somebody to put a costume on from home and come down to the parade ground. Some of those costumes are quite bulky. You have to have a place where people, a tent, something reserved that people can get in and get dressed, and not in the washrooms.
Right. And like you mentioned, it's probably likely the case when out-of-town masqueraders only arrive on the Saturday morning and they just came from the mass camp to pick up their costume, or their costume was only ready on the Saturday morning, and so they do have, no other choice but to get ready, in the washroom area of the C&E.
They came straight to the parade grounds because they came from wherever they came from across the border, and their costumes was in the truck with the band leader, and they had to get dressed. And it was not only one band; there were several different bands that people were getting dressed right there.
Okay,
and
I'll have to jump in because time is going, and I want both of you, Karli and is it
Carol?
Carol.
I like deadlines. I like to give people time to work, and it's good that we are talking here today.
Yes.
But I don't want it to just end in a conversation. I would like. What do you expect? When do you want to hear from the Festival Management Committee? What you want to hear from them, and if you don't hear from them by whatever time, what's the next move? So,
well, William and everyone, with security being the number one problem, we are appealing, begging, asking all of the concerned masqueraders out there to ask their city councillor to request an agenda item be added on the Economic Development Committee, who is meeting this upcoming August 19th. As taxpayers of Toronto, we can request this. We can request to know how the festival is run and how the money is used.
Okay, hold it there.
I want to know if any money is being
hold on, Cara.
security.
Hold on, I have to interrupt because time is running, and I want Karli to say something because what else you want to add, Karli?
Well, we've actually started up Save Toronto Carnival, and you can reach us on our Facebook page. And what we're trying to do is bring about education and engagement.
Okay, I want specifics. What do you want from the FMC between now and say the end of the month?
What we want is more community involvement.
No. What do you want them to do? What do you want the FMC to do? Let's get specifics.
We're trying to get financial information to see where the funds are going, so that we can move forward and make recommendations and work with the FMC to engage the community and get them involved make this carnival better.
Okay, wonderful. I hope they're listening. I'm going to send the information to them. Thank you for coming in.
Thank you.
The time is running, and we're glad that you came, and we are happy to be able to give you the opportunity to talk about your concerns.
Thank you.
Thank you for the opportunity.
And I'm saying again, follow up, knock on the doors, carry demonstrators, whatever, but you want action, take it to the streets.
That's our intention, sustained action.
Wonderful.
Absolutely.
Thank you, Cara.
You're welcome, and thank you for the chance.
It's indeed a pleasure, and we hope that you get what you're looking for.
For all masqueraders.